Hey everybody, TJ here. Welcome to an episode of Mii Time. We haven't had one of these in a long time, and the reason for that is I've been focusing a lot of my efforts onto trying to get as far into Smash Supremacy as I can now that we finally have a release date for Cloud Corn and Bayonetta, and I'm super pumped about that because that means I can actually finish this tournament that's been 2 years in the making now. It was something that I initially thought I would just do over one summer, have fun with these new amiibo that at the time had just released, and who knew that there would be so many characters added via DLC, and also that it would take so long for all of them to hit the market. In fact, it took like a year plus after they were initially announced to actually even make it to market, which hasn't happened yet. They're going to be released next month. The other thing I've been pouring a lot of my time and attention into is Custom Conquest. I've got 4 more episodes to finish out the season. The next one that's coming is kind of an elaborate one. I promise you it is going to be fierce. And it is going to be terrible. Terrible in the ferocious sense, not that it's going to be bad. Well, you know, it might be bad. That's actually something I'll let you judge for yourself. But needless to say, it does take a lot of time to complete these episodes, and this next one is no small feat. It's not even close to being done, so it's going to take me a little bit more time to work on it. Smash Supremacy, however, I'm going to try to keep rolling through. In the meantime, I'm not going to be able to get a Smash Supremacy out this week, but I did have a little bit of time to slip in a Mii Time. That's what we're here for today. E3 is only a couple days away. So I could go into my thoughts about that, but I really want to shy away from it a little bit and focus on something more specific. Smash Brothers for Switch. Will it be announced at E3? Alright, I'm really excited about this. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So before we get too far into this and I throw my big heavy opinion around, why don't we cross our T's and dot our J's?
The views and opinions expressed here are ours alone and do not necessarily reflect those of this channel or its affiliates.
And we reserve the right to alter them at any time if it's convenient or because we feel like it. So, take this.
Alright, now here we go. Smash Brothers for Switch. Will it be announced at E3 this year? I don't know. I'm not going to get into that today. But what I do want to talk about is what I want from Smash Switch when it does eventually come out. And I know we know it's coming out eventually because there has been a Smash Brothers on every Nintendo console since the Nintendo 64. So of course it will come because it's an enormously popular franchise. Not only does it have broad commercial appeal with all of Nintendo's most popular characters, and even some more obscure ones, but it also is a hot game on the competitive circuit. So there's no reason to think that Nintendo wouldn't have some plans of bringing this game to their current console, the Nintendo Switch. So while I really love Smash Brothers, every Smash Brothers that's ever came out I really loved. Smash Brothers for Wii U, in my opinion, is the best one that has released so far. I would rate it a 10 out of 10. But I still have some minor gripes and some more substantial gripes about it. I played every inch of the 3DS version and the Wii U version. Because of Smash Supremacy and all of the amiibo functions and all the customizing that I do, I've upended every single rock that game has. And so I know the ins and outs of it now. But one of the first things that really turned me off of it the first time I played it is the menu layout. I found the menu layout to be tremendously confusing. And to be able to access things like replays or even the normal one-player mode, like classic mode, you have to go into games and more. It's unnecessarily complicated, and I'm hoping that... I appreciate the artistic design. I think it looks cool, but the presentation doesn't outweigh the usability. So I want to see this menu cleaned up. Just clean it way up. So if I want to Smash, I can go to Smash. That's just about the only easy thing in there. You got the big red button. But if you want to do anything other than Smash, you got to dig through that menu. We need to fix that. Clean that thing up. My next complaint is probably one that's unique to me. You know, I want to know if this is something that bothers you guys too. It's the button mapping. You cannot use the D-pad for Smash Brothers unless you're playing it on a Wiimote control. When I'm playing games that are two-dimensional, and my character is only moving on a flat linear plane and not like Breath of the Wild or Super Mario 64 or in a 3D environment, I do not want to use an analog stick. I find that it actually restricts my precision. I would much, much rather use the D-pad. You can remap every single button however you want in Smash Brothers for Wii U, except that For some reason, you have to use that for your taunts. Why can I not just swap those? Why can't I take the D-pad functionality and switch it with the analog stick? So I have my analog stick be the taunts, which is something I almost never use because it's mostly just useless and trolly, and I'm not good enough at the game to waste time doing that. But I do want to use that directional pad to be able to play. And I would just play on a Wii mode if it had more buttons and it was a more practical way to play, because I do like that D-stick the best. So I'm not saying that it should become the default mode of play. I'm just saying, obviously it can happen. Obviously you can do it. So give me the option to be able to switch it. There's no advantage that I can tell with the analog stick. All it does is hold me personally back. So if you like the analog stick, use the analog stick. But if not, I really think that it should be an option available. The next one. There was not perfect parity between Smash for 3DS and Smash for Wii U. Some of them had features that one of them did not have, and vice versa. But one of the coolest features of either version is Smash Run. It's a really fun way to be able to explore this semi-maze-like environment and fight enemies that are from all manner of different Nintendo franchises. And you have to do it on that little screen. I would have played to death Smash Run if I could have done it on my television screen. So what I'm hoping is that Smash Run from 3DS gets moved onto Smash Switch, and that way we get to take it portably or on the TV, which would be a really cool way to utilize that portability feature that the Switch has. Along with that, why don't you throw in all those 3DS stages too, because we got some really cool 3DS stages that the Wii U did not get, and it would be nice to be able to have those on the Switch as well. The mode that the Wii U had that 3DS didn't have was like this board game. I think it was called Smash Tour, but whatever it was called, I played it like 4 times, and it's horribly boring. Now, and you know what's worse? The worst crime of it being horribly boring is that it was horribly confusing. Actually, maybe being boring is worse crime than being confusing, but either way, if you combine boring and confusing, and you can use both of those words to describe a mode in a game, there is a fundamental failure there. So I don't really know too many people who enjoyed that mode. It's not really something that moves fast enough to engage my attention, and because I don't know what's going on and I'm having a hard time even figuring out what's triggering what and where I'm going, I think that there's a better way to do that. I'm not saying that the mode should be outright omitted, but it needs to be streamlined in some way that it clarifies what the goal is and makes it a little bit more in the direction of a Smash take on Mario Party. Maybe if it was something like that, it doesn't have to be as involved as Mario Party, but if it was something like we're playing this board game, you guys might have even seen Smash Chess, which is a board game that I invented using the Smash Brothers game to settle all of the encounters that you have with the chess pieces. If it was something like that, that would be awesome. Obviously I like it enough to have invented it myself and found some way to manipulate the game to let me do it using post effects, and obviously the game, I'm not manipulating the game, I'm just using what the game lets me do, and then using the amiibo as physical chess pieces, and then playing all the scenarios out with the game. So if you haven't checked out Smash Chess, check it out. It's fun. I think it would be a cool kind of mode to have in this, or if anyway, just some ideas to kind of improve upon the Smash Tour. If you liked Smash Tour and I'm completely missing the mark, let me know. I want to tell me what I'm missing about Smash Tour. But my feeling is, and most of the people I've talked to, it's not really something that ever caught on. Now let's focus on a little bit of the nitty gritty. I love that Smash Wii U introduced custom moves, so you can play these characters with just a tremendously varied combination of moves. Each character has 3 different options for their 4 different special moves, which is a really cool thing, because if you maybe feel like your character is lacking in a certain area or it doesn't lend themselves well to your playstyle, there's a chance that you might be able to modify that character to suit your tastes. The thing I don't like about it is it took me a long time to unlock all of those custom moves, because the game randomly generates unlocking them. You can unlock them in just about any mode of the game. There are rewards that you receive as you're playing through it. But for me to finally, after clocking hundreds of hours, I finally had to resort to the Ganondorf glitch, where I taped down a turbo button on a controller in Target Smash. and he just kept doing it. And I left the game on for a week straight. That's what it took for me to be able to unlock all these custom moves. That's ridiculous to me, because it's you have to find some way to game the system to be able to unlock all these custom moves. I feel like you shouldn't be able to get duplicate custom moves. Once you unlock a custom move, it should be out of the rotation. And while we're talking about that, I think the same thing should happen with trophies, unless you create some useful purpose to have duplicates. What can I do something with my duplicate trophies? It seems so odd to me that we had a store, a trophy store, where you go in there and you can buy the ones that you don't have, but you were not able to sell your duplicates to earn some coinage. That seemed like a very simple solution. If I get extra trophies that I can't use, let me sell them back to the system so that I can make some money that I can go spend on other modes to play in. Or maybe some kind of trading thing where I could trade one that I already have for a different one. Or maybe there's some other use for extra trophies. I don't know. But if you're not going to give me some reason to have extra ones, then stop giving me extra ones. It's just annoying. And seeing, it even keeps track of how many you have, which is kind of pointless because there's no point to it unless I'm missing something, which would in and of itself be a flaw of the game, because if there is something I could do with those extra trophies, I feel like I should know it based on the amount of time I've already put into it. Now, here is my first major disappointment with Smash for Wii U when I first discovered this. Amiibo were announced pretty much alongside Smash for Wii U, and I was super intrigued by their functionality. You know that fighting is a really big part of my life. I train in martial arts. I'm a professional sword fighter. I do a lot of stunt fighting. And so the software that they have created inside this NFC chip and the fighting algorithms and what they did to allow you to train these amiibo to fight the way that you want them to fight, it fascinated me to the point where I made my own show based on it. And so what I really wanted to be able to do was to be able to play co-op with my custom trained amiibo. My fantasy before the game even released, the thing I had dreams about that I wanted to do, was for me to be controlling me and to scan in my amiibo buddy Link so that I can fight alongside my amiibo of Link, and we'll go through that tower and we'll take on Master Hand together. But alas, your amiibo cannot join you in a co-op campaign, and that I find to be really, really a huge letdown. That was the first thing I tried to do. When I first powered up the game, I went in to scan that amiibo and it said they wouldn't even let me do that option. So I was kind of crushed, to be honest. And I would like to see that changed. I think if you have this amiibo figure, it should work just like a human player in all of the different ways that you can utilize a human player. It lets you do it in every other mode, so I don't understand why that was omitted. So that's something I really hope that I'm sure that amiibo will still be a big part of it, but I hope that that's one area where they adjust its compatibility. And on the subject of amiibo, and this is going to get a little bit controversial, I don't really think that they should re-release any of the amiibo that launched in the Smash line. There are some of those amiibo that if you want to be able to have in Smash Brothers, you have no way of doing that right now. Like, for example, if you wanted to be able to have Captain Falcon as your amiibo buddy and you never bought a Wii U and you never bought Smash for Wii U or 3DS, and now all of a sudden you buy it for Switch and you want to team up with your buddy Captain Falcon and be laying out some Falcon Punch, you can't. You have no way of getting it unless you were happen to buy one for ridiculous gray market prices, or you know somebody who has one and they're willing to give it to you. What I think would be a better option than that is to continue up with that Player 2 series that they were toying with Cloud, Corrin, and Bayonetta. So now, as you probably know by now, Cloud, Corrin, and Bayonetta each have 2 figures released. Their standard trophy and then their alternate trophy. I think that's super awesome. To what end? I don't know. Honestly, I don't really care about the Bayonetta or the Cloud one. I'm very happy that there is a Bayonetta and Cloud amiibo, but the Player 2 one doesn't really have much interest. It doesn't hold much interest for me personally. The alternate Corrin, though, absolutely does, because it's the difference between the male and the female Corrin. The alternate Corrin, I think most people generally think that the real Corrin, the main Corrin, is female Corrin. So now that you can have the option to have either for your amiibo is super awesome. If I didn't get one, I was going to customize it. Now, it's not the only character that's like that in Smash. So what I'm hoping is, particularly with your characters like Alf, male Wii Fit trainer, female Robin, who else? Maybe even your villagers. You have 8 different villagers, and certainly your Koopalings. I don't just want player 2 for Bowser Jr. I want player 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I want all 7 of those Koopalings. I want them so bad I made them myself, you guys know, for custom conquest. But not everybody's going to do that. Not everybody can do that. So I would love to see all of these versions as amiibo. People would buy them. Who would not want to have a set of all 7 Koopalings plus Bowser Jr.? That would rule. You would have the entire Koopa clan. That would be amazing. Now, what does that mean for other characters like Mario or Luigi, who have the same character but not really anything super special? I'm okay with Fire Mario. Maybe I wouldn't double dip. Maybe I wouldn't buy Mario in his fire clothes or Luigi in his pink Valentine outfit. But it would be a great option to have out there, and I think that it's a better way than re-releasing the amiibo for 2 reasons. One, I think a lot of people would buy them in addition to the one that they already have. You're then incentivizing people who've already purchased 60 some amiibo for Smash to buy another 60 amiibo for Smash. That's not a bad business move. And for people who never bought any from the original set, you're giving them the option of having some way to be able to create this character and deliver some functionality without having to compromise the rarity of what they've already released, which is something that, it doesn't bother me personally, but I know that a lot of collectors, it increases the value of their collection for them if they know it's something rare. So in summary, I don't want to see any reissues. I want them to continue down that player 2 path and do reposes, different color schemes, things that we haven't seen yet. Next, and I know that this is one that everybody wants to see, I want to see some new characters added. I realize every character added to the game dramatically affects the balancing. And it's not just as simple as throwing another character in. For every single character that's in the game, you have to create an alternate version of Kirby. So there's a compound effect here. Every single character is going to change the game in more ways than just simply throwing another character in there. It's a lot of hard work. But there are a few characters that I think are a lock. They will be in there and we will see them, and that's a good thing. One of them is Ice Climbers. Everybody knows that Ice Climbers didn't make it in because the 3DS couldn't handle them. Well, that's not a problem with the Switch. The Switch has more than enough power to be able to handle Ice Climbers, both portably and on your television set. So Ice Climbers are back in. They've already put some work and some development into this. It just makes sense. Inklings are in. There's no question about it. I actually believe fully that Inklings won the ballot. The Bayonetta ballot. But Nintendo bypassed Inkling because they wanted to have something to incentivize people to purchase the next version of the game. And I think Inklings are a good way to do it. It was a runaway hit for the Wii U. Splatoon is a big game now. It has potential as an esports title. So I really think that they held back Inklings. I think it was a smart move to hold back Inklings. They supplemented a little bit with some Mii Fighter costumes. But now we're going to get the real thing. We're probably going to see Inklings that resemble the appearance of the amiibo that we've already seen, and maybe even the amiibo that have been already announced for Splatoon 2. Maybe they'll put a wolf in there. I don't know. I don't care. I think probably they will. I know a lot of people liked Wolf back in Brawl. Wasn't really a thing for me. I'm not a Star Fox guy, so it doesn't really have a whole lot of appeal to me. I wouldn't mind if he made it in the game. I'm not going to complain about another character, but it's not one that I'm going to bust down the door if I don't get him. Now here's another one that I'm pretty sure is a lock, and I think it would be very wise for Nintendo to include, and that would be some representative of ARMS. Now I know what a lot of you are thinking. ARMS is unproven. It's an unproven entity. They don't deserve to be in Smash yet. Well, let me tell you, there is no better way to sell ARMS than Smash Brothers. If you put a character in ARMS, if you put an ARMS character in Smash Brothers, and we get to experience how they move, and how they move reflects how they move in the game ARMS, then we get attached to this character. We see them interacting with characters that we love, and it's going to naturally generate a love for those characters. And I think that that's going to make people feel a lot more goodwill towards ARMS already. Some people have been playing it. The review copies are out. They're loving it. We're going to see more of it at E3. But there's going to be a lot of holdouts. I'll tell you, I'm not going to buy ARMS. Maybe eventually I will, but there's really no reason I feel I need to buy it now. And I think it wouldn't hurt if I got to test drive one of these ARMS characters in a game that I am for sure going to buy. And I don't think that I'm alone in that. I think that if Nintendo makes me love some ARMS character in Smash Brothers, that maybe I'm going to want to see more of that character. Maybe I'm going to want to play more of them. It's a great reason to include them in Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers, I think Nintendo realized with the Wii U, is more than just a silly fighting game, silly party fighting game where anyone can pick it up and beat each other up with Nintendo characters. It is its own marketing platform. Not only does it sell itself because it has all these great characters, but it sells the titles that all these characters are from. You play these games, some of them, like Ness or Lucas, for example, have only existed in one title or two titles at most. And so people have never heard of these characters. They love them in Smash Brothers. They fall in love with them there. And then they do a little bit of research and they're like, oh, let's see, I can buy Earthbound on my virtual console if the Switch ever gets one. Maybe I will just check out that game and pony up another $15 or whatever the game happens to cost. So it's a great selling platform for Nintendo to market their own material right back to people, and it's not a bad move. On the Wii U, they created a whole little section where you can take one of their classic games for a spin and then redirect you right to the eShop and buy them. Smart, super smart. I'm glad that they are starting to realize what they have on their hands, and I hope that they continue to utilize it even more. Now, who would I want to see from ARMS? Personally, I think Ribbon Girl is the best choice. I think Ribbon Girl has a very iconic ARMS look. She's a character that's not too specific like Cobra Kid or Twintel, where they have very unique features. Like Twintel, I think, is the only one whose hair are fists, and not too much like DNA Man or whatever his name is. He's a little too specific. Ribbon Girl combines what's really cool about ARMS and kind of represents it in an iconic way. The other character I feel does that is Spring Man. So if we're going to just get one character, I think Ribbon Girl is the better choice. But if not, I think our poster boy is going to be Spring Man. Now, what would I love to see more of in Smash for Switch? I loved Mii Fighters. I think Mii Fighters are one of the best things to ever happen to video games in the history of the world. I've dreamed of playing as myself against and alongside my Nintendo heroes forever. So clashing swords with Link and trading punches with Little Mac, that is a dream come true. I've wanted to do that since 1985. And Nintendo let me do that by way of the Mii Fighter. So I want to see even more Mii Fighter customizations, maybe even more moves to choose from. Maybe it's definitely more costumes. Give me more hats. Give me more clothes. The hats, they had quite a robust collection. But, maybe there were only like 7 different suits or so. It's cool to unlock them. It's a fun way to be able to incentivize me to explore certain modes of the game and check out more of the features because I want to unlock these costumes. I think that's great. And I would love to see more of that. Give me more different things that I can be. In a similar vein, I wouldn't mind seeing updated skins for some of the other characters. Breath of the Wild is a game I've been pouring a lot of time into, and you probably have too, because it's amazing. And if you haven't played it, you need to rectify that fact ASAP, because life is short, man. You need to play Breath of the Wild. Get that time in. I wouldn't mind seeing a version of Link with his Breath of the Wild duds, or Zelda in her Breath of the Wild attire. I think that would be really cool. It doesn't need to change the way that the game would work at all, just a reskin, but it's an easy way of making us feel like it's an updated version of Smash. I'm not sure I would love to see Mario with his googly-eyed cap, but maybe they can come up with something else cool. I see no reason why we can't throw a few extra skins in there just to kind of update it a little. And finally, and this is the big one, this was what I was really missing from Smash for Wii U, and I'm kind of surprised that it didn't have this, and that is some kind of campaign mode. Subspace Emissary for Brawl was awesome. It was such a cool little way for me to to experience these characters all getting integrated into a single plot, all being kind of thrust into this same world. I don't need a deep storyline. It's all my favorite Nintendo characters fighting each other. That's fine. But it was so fun to be able to just go on this little co-op campaign adventure. I actually played it with a buddy. I thought that was so cool. So cool to be able to take these characters on a tour of all these different franchises and this loosely woven together plot that culminated in unlocking a whole bunch of characters and then also fighting the big bad of the game. So super awesome, super fun, and I really missed it. So I would love to see some similar mode revived for the Switch. So for everyone who listened to this silly talking head for that whole time, thank you. And I appreciate that you are interested in what I think, but I am very genuinely also interested in what you think. Where did I get it wrong? What did I miss? Is there anything that you really want to see from Smash for Switch that wasn't in the Wii U version or wasn't in the 3DS version or wasn't in any version that you think would elevate that game to the next level or would lend itself well to some of the cool attributes that the Switch has? I don't know. Lay it on me. Leave those comments down in the comment section below. I read everyone. I know there's been a long period of time between episodes of Mii Time, but I'm going to do something a little bit different for the next one. People ask me questions all the time, sometimes related to custom conquest or just general customizing tips. Sometimes I get questions about Smash Supremacy or how that tournament's going to work or my opinion about different games or even some of the effects that I use in my videos. I want to do for the next Mii Time a question and answer session. So for everyone who watches the show, leave me a question somewhere in the comment section below. I just think it will be fun to know what you want to know from me, and I'll answer your questions as best as I can. Once I get enough questions to fill a discussion, then I'll go ahead and answer them, and that's what our next Mii Time episode will be. So as always, I want to thank you for spending your time with me, and I'm excited about E3. It's happening. It's right around the corner. It's going to happen. So I hope you're excited too. I hope that Nintendo has some really great surprises in store. I hope that everyone's Nintendo fantasies come true. And I'll talk to you again real soon. Thanks for playing.